Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Adrian Lloyd and this is just my stupid opinion. And today we're going to be discussing Rebel Media. Rebel Media has had a really rough week. It started off a few days ago when one of their ex-correspondents in UK, Caolan, put up a video. He described why he left Rebel Media. And in this video, he talked about how he felt that him and his camera guy, who had also been fired, had found out too much about Rebel Media, and it had to do with their finances. Rebel Media is a crowdfunding source. They get all their money from the people who watch them and donate. Well, the accusation is not only were they getting crowdfunded, they also had private donors, and they were making a lot more money than they seemed. Allegedly, according to Caolan, he is suggesting that Rebel Media is either pocketing the funds or using it in other unethical ways. And he flat out accused the company of being an unethical one. He pretty much called it a money grabbing source. He goes on to describe much more about Ezra Levant himself and the situation that went on leading to his dismissal. He also had a few screenshots of emails between him and Ezra Levant where he spoke about Ezra's temper. Caolan also alleged that Rebel Media started pulling videos of his. He alleged that he found a scandal in UK Parliament, which he said was stacking the election. And apparently Ezra Levant was unwilling to show the story. On the flip side, Ezra Levant later on put out a video about a couple hours later. And in this video, he talked about how he was being blackmailed by Caolan and his cameraman. He alleged that Caolan was calling him all the time desperately with odd requests for money, saying he needed money for an Uber, which doesn't use cash. Ezra claimed he kept sending him money, and then eventually, when things seemed to be getting fishy, he fired Caolan and his cameraman. And then Ezra Levant claimed that he started getting emails from Caolan and his cameraman threatening to expose them, that they had dirt on him, and video evidence of one of their other correspondents, Tommy Robinson, assaulting not sure who, but assaulting somebody, and they were going to release it if he didn't pay him up. Ezra Levant admitted to giving out a lot of money, which he tried to cover up, and then he went public after this video came out. So we have the two sides on this, and it's not clear yet which side is real. However, last I heard, Ezra Levant is still refusing to release the finance statements for Rebel Media to see where that money went. In response to both of this, the other UK correspondent for Rebel Media, Tommy Robinson, he made a short video while he was at the airport right before he went on vacation, where he seemed to be taking Ezra Levant's side on it. What he said is he ran a campaign in order to crowdfund, to get people to donate money to a man who needed a new wheelchair. There's more to the story. I'm not sure the full extent of what it is, but I do know that he was raising money for a man to get a new wheelchair. And he said that when he asked Ezra what the surplus does, he says it's given all to this gentleman in the wheelchair, Knox. So we have Caolan on one side, who's claiming the Rebel Media is unethical. Ezra Levant is all about the money, and he doesn't really care about journalism. He also claims that Ezra has quite a temper. And on the other side, we have Ezra Levant, who's claiming he's being blackmailed and distorted by Caolan. Tommy Robinson comes out in defense of Ezra. But there's a little more to this story. See, during the meetup where money was exchanged, Caolan and his cameraman ended up taking a hidden video. In it, you can clearly hear Ezra Levant telling them how much he's going to pay for severance, and then in his own words, he says the other part is the hush money.
I want to break it into two parts. First is severance, and the other is sort of the hush money. £1,000 plus for each of you, £1,000 a month for 4 months.
He also goes on to talk about how Lauren Southern and Jack Posobiec, two people who previously worked for Rebel Media and left, were smart in that they didn't cross him and they didn't say anything bad, and just said they were that they departed and they were happy to be on to better things.
Lauren Southern, Jack Pasovic, we had our differences, but you'll notice that they've been positive since they left it. Why would Lauren fight with them? You see how smart they are? They may have grievances in there. I feel like I had a real hand in getting Lauren going, and helping Jack a bit, but he was pretty big. But you notice how smart they are? They're not actually saying, if they're grumbling, they're not grumbling publicly, because not only would that be against their common law and contractual duties to them, I am prepared to give you and Caolan a very nominal sum to sign a second confidentiality agreement. So don't go that road. Launch yourselves as independent. Be totally positive like Lauren Southern. Hey guys, we had a great run of the Rebel, but now we're doing something even better. We're going independent. We're going to do whatever we want. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. If you love this Rebel, you love us now. Or you don't even mention the Rebel. Don't do it. I will PayPal to you right fucking now. I have the PayPal money on my phone and have it in your account in 90 seconds.
This was a little damning because it fell in line a little bit with what Caolan was talking about. Caolan spoke about the time when Lauren Southern left Rebel Media. Lauren Southern just up and left one day. She put a video out on her channel that said, "I'm going independent." When I first saw this, I thought she meant she was going independent politically, independent party. But she was going independent journalism. Didn't say much, just that she was departing with the Rebel and that she was happy for her time there, on to better things. Pretty much almost exactly the way Ezra talked about it when he was in this private video. Caolan Roberts alleges that when the Rebel was crowdfunding for the trip to Israel, they achieved the goal they were looking for. But then Ezra Levant asked Lauren Southern to continue campaigning for more money for this trip, despite the fact they had enough to cover everybody for their time there. And she refused. So he fired her, according to the allegation. I have not seen Lauren Southern weigh in on this at all, so I don't know. And these are all allegations at the moment from both sides. We don't really have any proof. But I found that the video evidence that Caolan provided, well, I should say audio, it's audio. But I found the audio evidence that was provided by Caolan a little damning, along with the emails and just how things lined up. I always thought it was weird the way that Lauren Southern left the Rebel Media. Usually when something like that happens, there's usually a process. Usually they kind of milk it a little bit, get some views, say the goodbyes. But she just up and left. No broadcast on Rebel. A post on her own channel, which even in that video she talked about how she didn't really post on her channel. Most of her videos were on Rebel. So this was very odd to me. And I kind of looked into it, but I didn't see anything. I couldn't find anything anyway. I couldn't find anything on it, but I still thought it was suspicious. And with Caolan coming out, I find myself sort of leaning towards him, because Ezra Levant, I kind of looked into him once I started, when I found out about the Rebel and was trying to figure out who they were. I looked into Ezra Levant. Ezra Levant has been sued several times and has sued other people. He has been sued for libel, and he has sued other people for libel. In one of the court cases that he was sued in, the judge ruled that he played loose with the facts. So this made me a little uneasy about the Rebel. And there was something about them, the way they presented themselves. I'd already said before in previous podcasts I've done, which are not available on YouTube, but you can download them on iTunes. I'm going to warn you, they're kind of shitty because I was just starting off. But I always found the way they presented themselves was similar. I always called them showmen, like the Young Turks. I find the Young Turks are kind of showmen. But there was something always that seemed a little wrong about the Rebel. And I think in some ways it was their activism. They held rallies. One of their one member on their board of directives was working on Andrew Scheer's campaign. Andrew Scheer won the Conservative leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada just back in May. They hold these rallies, they hold these conventions, they start a bunch of petitions, but this doesn't seem normal activity for a news source. I'll admit, TYT does some activism too, without a doubt, but never to the degree that Rebel did. Rebel does a lot of activist work. One thing that got Lauren Southern in a bit of criticism a little while back when she was still working for Rebel is she was reporting at one event and she actually took the stage and the microphone. If you're a reporter, you're not really there supposed to be doing that. No ill will towards Lauren Southern at all. You do you, and if that's what Rebel's letting you do, then okay. But for the news source, this doesn't seem the proper way you're supposed to conduct yourself. I'm curious whose side you take on either Caolan or Ezra's. Let me know in the comments below. However, despite all this, Rebel's troubles did not start here. Rebel Media's trouble started this past weekend. In one of my videos I released last week, I covered the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, and in it I showed a video that was taken by Faith Goldie of Rebel Media. She was on the ground covering the whole thing, and she was actually at ground zero when the car plowed into the counter-protesters. Well, it turns out she was not supposed to be there. Ezra Levant strictly told her he did not want her there to cover it. But she was there, covering what was on the ground. She was not supposed to be. She came back, did a report about what she saw and what happened. The next time we hear about Faith Goldie, Ezra Levant is announcing that he's fired her. She went on a podcast known as The Daily Stormer, which was a white supremacist podcast. And I think what really did her in is she made some reference to the JQ, which is supposed to be the Jew question. Ezra Levant's Jewish, so I think that's what did her in, also appearing on there. So Faith Goldie got fired from there. She's not on there anymore. She was one of their star lineups. And I'm a little surprised that he fired her so soon after she was in that event, as well as the footage he brought her. Even if he told her no, she got some great footage on the ground. This goes along with a couple other contributors to Rebel Media who have departed with them due to ethical reasons. And one person also who left the Rebel is Brian Lilly, who is their co-founder. Apparently he had a very rough departure with Ezra Levant, and this had to do over their coverage of Charlottesville. He felt they did not condemn the alt-right and the Nazis enough. One heavy criticism Rebel Media has been getting lately is that they are a platform for the alt-right, and that these days the alt-right is just racist white supremacy, which pretty much it is. From the rally last week, that's all we can see that the alt-right has really become. It's the well, I shouldn't say become. The alt-right was coined by Richard Spencer, who is a white nationalist. So it was always like that. But we look at some people who have made it popular, such as Milo, and we might not think them all to be like that. And I'm sure, of course, they're not all white supremacists, Nazis, KKK members. But it's always been a white nationalist movement. Brian Lilly felt they didn't condemn them enough. The KKK members, the Nazis, the alt-right, all of them. So he left the Rebel. Had a very messy break from Ezra Levant, but he's gone. And we're seeing a huge exodus here. I mean, there's even rumors now that Gavin McInnes might be leaving them. That is pretty much their entire star lineup. Brian Lilly, Faith Goldie, and now Gavin McInnes. Not to mention that Caolan Roberts also got them a fair amount of views when he did do videos for them. So we are seeing an implosion at the Rebel. Rumor has it too is that the Canadian Revenue Agency is planning to audit them now about the money that they make off their crowdfunding. shit. Rebels really crossed the line. And one thing, and as if to top it all off, as if they couldn't lose any more, Andrew Scheer, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, announced that he will not be on that platform again. He made frequent visits during the election run to the Rebel. They promoted him heavily. One of their people worked on his campaign. That's a strong ally to have, especially because if he was to perhaps win the next election that comes up in a few years, he would be the Prime Minister of Canada. It would be almost like the way Trump is with InfoWars. They would have an in into government. Not anymore. Last time I checked, they had 871,000 subscribers to their channel. Keep an eye on their subscriber count over the next few weeks. We'll see how this controversy really affects them, whether people jump ship with them or stay strong with them. We don't know yet. And we don't even know if Caolan Roberts' accusations are true. If they get audited by the CRA and they find nothing, then it's most likely that Caolan was lying. Again, only reason at the moment I might lean to side a little bit more with Caolan over Ezra is Ezra's past, the ruling of the judge about how Ezra Levant plays fast and loose with facts, the audio evidence, and the pictures that he provided with emails from Ezra Levant. Some of them were blanked out in certain areas, but all in all, they were still pretty convincing to me. I want to know what you know, though. Let me know in the comments below. I'm Adrian Lloyd. This is just my stupid opinion. I'll see you soon. If you like this video, you can subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you're watching it there, or you can go and download it on iTunes or SoundCloud.